This is the tale of two very different creatures, but two whose stories are intimately entwined. It's the tale of the peacock and the tiger. In Britain, peacocks are exotic ornaments to stately homes. Spacious lawns provide a stage for the cocks to flaunt their bejewelled tails at an audience of drab and admiring peahens. But peafowl aren't native to Britain, or even to Europe, though they've been known here since the 14th century. They've long been valued for the splendour of the cock's magnificent tail. But how did the peacock get its tail? For the answer to that, we must go to its homeland, to India. Here, the peacock has more ancient links with man. Its images are set in stone, portrayed in paint. Today, the deserted palaces of Mughal emperors and Rajput princes are embellished by the living bird. But these are no pampered ornaments. They're truly wild. And despite the apparent handicap of the male's enormous tail, they can and do fly. The peacock is modern India's national bird, but its place in the national psyche has far older roots. Wild creatures of all kinds are embodied in India's folklore and religious beliefs. In the Hindu pantheon, langur monkeys are identified with Hanuman, the monkey god. Peacocks, too, are venerated, but monkeys are no respecters of divinity. When there's food to be had, the peacocks have to wait their turn. The peacock was the mount of Kartika, the god of war. Maybe because the bird has a legendary ability to destroy snakes. Perhaps for that reason, peacocks are seldom killed, so they're often found in Indian villages. The bird's prolific breeding has made it a symbol of fertility, and the dancing of the peacock is said to foretell the coming of the rains, a momentous event in this dry and hungry land. The links between man and peacock go back over 2,000 years, but the bird itself is far older than that. To solve the riddle of how the peacock got its tail, we must go to the jungle, to its wild neighbours. This is another world, a world of hunters and hunted, where constant vigilance is the price of life. Supreme among the hunters is the cat that walks by himself, the steed of the goddess Kali, the destroyer, the tiger. Almost all the jungle's creatures have reason to fear him. Peacock, or samba deer, The tiger is lord of all he surveys. But he hunts alone. He must remain hidden, for paradoxically the peacock has the power to ruin his hunt. It's June in the sun-scorched hills of Rajasthan, the height of the dry season. There's been almost no rain for 9 months. The peacock's day starts early. At this season, the males are in their full splendour. Cocks don't carry their tails all year. They lose them in the annual moult, and it takes several weeks for that bespangled train to grow anew. All life is now concentrated around the few dwindling waterholes. The peacock's rain dance has yet to have its effect. Sooner or later, all the jungle creatures must come here to drink. The sambar and the dappled cheetah, the bristly wild pig, and the strangely misshapen nilgai antelope. For the monkeys, the peacock and the deer, this is the leanest time of year. For the tiger, it's the fattest. All his subjects are now gathered before him. He can afford to wait and to choose. Peacocks come early to the waterhole. The first arrivals jockey for position. The cocks are sparring for a patch of ground to call their own. And this is why. As the morning wears on, a steady stream of peahens fly in to drink. All the hens in the neighbourhood must come here each morning. There can be 100 or more. For any male that wants to pull the birds, this watering hole is clearly a good place to be. And it's a good place for hunters of another kind. Cocks spend a lot of their time fighting. Could this be one reason for having such a splendid tail? It may not impress a tiger, but does the tail intimidate rival males? It seems not. The full display is reserved for the peahens. The cocks are fighting for a space to flaunt their tails, like boys jostling for the best seat at the bar to chat up the girls. Any peahen coming to the waterhole can take her pick from the strutting and posturing cocks. But, as in any rough pub, you can be knocked off your bar stool. So, could this be the reason for the peacock's tail? Do hens prefer males with big tails? The answer seems to be yes. Careful observation has shown that peahens select the cocks with the most eye spots in their tails. That doesn't mean they actually count the spots. There can be over 200. It's probably the overall impact of the display that matters. It's even been suggested that all those eyes hypnotize the female into submission. Whatever the reason, peahens certainly seem to have an eye for beauty. But what's so good about peacocks with big tails? Very recently, it's been found that the offspring of males with the most elaborate tails grow and survive better. And if tail size is inherited, it makes even more sense for a hen to choose the most spectacular cock. By doing so, she's giving her sons the best possible start in life. It's 3 years before a peacock can grow a full tail. The weakest males may not live that long. This young cock's doing his best, but he leaves the hens cold. If peahens prefer males with flamboyant tails, and if that trait is passed on to their young, what stops the tail getting bigger and bigger? That is where the tiger comes into this tale. Big tails could be a handicap in all sorts of ways. Like deer's antlers, they have to be grown anew each year, and that takes energy. There are a lot of weight to carry around. That must make the bearer slower, less agile, easier prey for hunters. In the dry season, the tiger is spoilt for choice. Will he pick pig, or peacock, chital, or sandbar? All must run the gauntlet, or die of thirst. That time, a chital was unlucky. There's more meat on a deer than a peacock. There's still no end to the drought. The monsoon rains are no more than a promise. Daytime temperatures rise to 45 degrees or more. Every patch of shade, every pool of water is precious. all have their own way of keeping cool. For most of the jungle's creatures, this is a cruel time of the year. Only for the tiger is it a season of ease, though his sleep may be soon disturbed. Young rhesus monkeys play in the shrinking remnants of a waterhole. By early July, there are signs that the rains may at last be on their way. Weaver birds are sowing strands of grass to form their intricate hanging nests. All the work is done by the brightly coloured male. Only if a female approves his handiwork will she move in. By the time the weaver bird's eggs hatch, the monsoon will have come. Already there's a heaviness in the air, an evening gathering of clouds as the peacocks fly up to roost. Soon the villagers' long trek for water will no longer be necessary. For people and peacock alike, life is about to change. As the storm clouds gather, the peacock's dance reaches its peak. What more potent symbol could there be of the renewal of life to come? When the monsoon finally arrives, it comes with a vengeance. The transformation of the countryside is sudden and dramatic. It will alter the lives of both peacock and tiger. The rains release an explosion of life. Termites emerge from the once parched earth, food for peacocks and other birds. Empty waterholes are filled, but they no longer draw the creatures of the forest. Only butterflies sip salts from the moistened soil. Soon their caterpillars will be food for baby peafowl. For peacocks, the rains are a mixed blessing. They're weighed down by their sodden tails, and keeping the feathers in trim is an added burden. The peacock's tail has almost served its purpose. Already some peahens have mated and laid their eggs. Peafowl often nest in the middle of a village, a telling measure of people's tolerance and regard for this sacred bird. Peahens can lay more than a dozen eggs. Only the female incubates. The cock will still be trying to mate with the remaining hens. In less than a month, the eggs hatch. Within hours, the chicks have left the nest. There'll be no shortage of insects for them in the new monsoon growth. With the coming of the rains, the jungle is a different world. On the forest floor, the grass is shoulder high to a deer, almost tall enough to smother a peacock. Not all the life awakened by the monsoon is welcome. The grass is full of ticks, and the peacocks soon become infested. To clean them from their heads, they need a little help. At this itchy time of year, you need good friends. For the tiger, life has changed too. His prey are no longer concentrated around the waterholes. He has to go out and hunt. A peacock, hampered by the burden of its tail, could be an easy quarry. The old display grounds are now knee-deep in grass, so the peacocks are clustered on the few remaining open spaces, such as roads. Some are already losing their tails, but others are still courting the few remaining hens, hazarding all on one last fling. Despite all this song and dance, the act of mating is private and seldom seen. In Indian folklore, peahens are fertilized, it's said, by drinking tears from the cock's face. But that won't satisfy these ardent suitors. This is a race against time. The cocks may achieve a few final matings, but in the dense and sodden jungles of the monsoon, that seductive tail can be a fatal handicap. For some, this may be the last dance. And so, our tale is at an end. The tail of the peacock may owe its existence to the peahen's eye for beauty, but if it grows too long, its owner may end up inside a tiger.